Hi, everybody. I'm Ronnie.
Hi, and I'm Jenny, and we are.
We are the Heart and Soul Sisters.
You got that right. How
And
you
to,
doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Wonderful.
Good, good. So today we're going to do sort of a follow up to last week's podcast on yoga. We want to talk about meditation, which, according to the yoga training that I took when I got my teacher certification, all the physical postures were really to ready to sort of take all the kinks and align the energy in the body so that one could sit in meditation. So the practice of yoga was really about meditation. And for many people, just the meditation is the yoga practice, right? That's sort of the heart of it. But meditation can be challenging for a lot of people. I know it was for me. How about you, Jen?
Yeah. I think it's when you spend a lot of time in your head, you and I both are
Yeah.
really analytical people and spend a lot of time. I know I do overthinking things. So meditation oftentimes can be an exercise in frustration for me because I have a hard time shutting that monkey brain off. And that's the whole point of meditation is to become an observer of the thoughts that are drifting in and out of your mind, or the activity of your mind, and to be present with yourself. And it's funny because the times when I am most stressed or going through what I've come to call a melancholy funk, where it's just, maybe a few days in a row of feeling like just unsettled, you
Yeah.
know. Um, those are the times that I tend to try to avoid meditation, and that's when I need it the most.
Right.
So
Right.
what I have found is that I I have adopted different kinds of meditation depending on whatever it is that I'm going through at that time.
Mhm.
So I have found myself when we've done this, I think as part of our energy management when we're preparing ourselves for our doing our intuitive or soul level coaching sessions, where it's the three-part breathing,
Mhm.
or we breathe into the count of five, slowly hold it for the count of five, and then exhale for the count of five. So I have found myself using that, my breath, as a form of meditation, and I actually do that at work. Um, my job as a nurse practitioner can be very stressful,
Right.
and uh, so I don't really have the place to go into a meditation, even in my office. When I'm back there, dictating or whatever. If I'm feeling really stressed about certain patients or things that are going on, I get interrupted a lot. But I can do the breath work and just do a couple minutes of meditative breath work, and it really helps to shift me out of that really icky energy of stress and worry and starting to feel fear, or stress response, and it helps shift me out of that and kind of gets me back into a place of more quietness so that
Right.
I can sit with whatever it is I'm having to deal with. Um, so I've found myself doing more of that. And then when I'm home, I love to do different guided meditations. I think we've talked in last time about the yoga nidra,
Mhm.
divine yoga nidra meditations. I love those, and Dr. Wayne Dyer's I Am meditation, and
Yeah.
Dr. Joe Spenza. And so I'll do a different variety. I mean, I have many meditations on my phone that is what am I in the mood for today? And so that is really kind of um, helps me to feel like I'm not a failure at meditating if I'm not able to sit quietly on my meditation pillow, supported and sitting up. If I need to that day do a meditation in my recliner, or sitting up in a chair or at work, I have different meditative practices that, or whatever you want to call it, styles that I can use given what's going on in that moment or where I am.
Right.
And so meditation is becoming more of a daily thing for me, where I used to feel like, well, if I don't have half an hour or more to meditate, then it's not really a successful meditation, right?
Right. Right.
I think I had that concept in my head for a very long time. And so my ideas of meditation have definitely shifted, especially over the last few years.
Yeah. Yeah.
How about
I had, well, I started practicing yoga, as we said last time, out of a book about 35 years ago. And it did have meditations in it, right? Things like, pay attention to the breath. One of them was like a concentration. You get a lighted candle, stare at it for a little bit, and then cover your eyes and see the candle in your mind's eye, if you will. Um, and I failed at every one of them. I couldn't do it. I couldn't sit there. I couldn't keep my mind on what my mind was supposed to be on. I had this idea that meditation meant I had to sit for a long period of time, and I had to empty my mind. I couldn't,
right?
I couldn't think about anything, or I had to have one focus of concentration if it was that candle flame, or something, the breath, like I'm just watching the breath go, and if I start thinking about things, then I totally failed. And it wasn't until about 7 years ago that I went to Kripalu for the first time and to see Deepak Chopra. And he talked about meditation in a different way and talked about lots of different approaches to meditation. But the thing that he said that really freed me the most, made me think I could give meditation another try. Because I had tried it, just sporadically, like just touching it and going, nah, no, I still fail at it. I still suck at it. I can't do it. But he got me to start trying again because he basically said, you're just observing. Doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter if you're concentrating on the breath. It doesn't matter if you are, if thoughts are going through your head. Just observe the thoughts that are going through your head. And he used the analogy of a train, and this idea that, and he talked about it in two different ways, which was kind of intriguing. So you could try, both of them. That one is you're just watching the train go by. And if you grab onto something, if you grab onto a thought and you find yourself grabbing onto it and holding onto it, you can visualize yourself putting it back on the train, and the train just keeps going. And the idea is you're cultivating the witness, right? The ability to witness what is happening for you. The other thing that he said that was kind of intriguing, he said, because when people pull an idea off the train, it's usually a negative one, right? They're ruminating on something that they're worrying about or that sort of thing. He said, so no, 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 put that one back on and then find a positive one and pull. If you're going to focus on something, focus on something like, I am so supported. I am happy and comfortable in this moment. I have a roof over my head and plenty of food, whatever. Almost like a gratitude practice, right? You're focusing on something positive
Yeah.
to think about. So we did that, and or you could take a question: Who am I? Who am I? Right? We kept asking that question, and when we were doing the practice as a group, we were doing it in partners actually, and the partner would ask us, who am I? And we would respond with something, and I would say, I'm a mother, I'm a teacher, I'm a, like I'd come up with all these roles. It's like, no, no, no. The idea is to get behind the who am I really, right? I am this infinite being of light that is immortal, right? I'm pure love. That we aren't these other things that we think we are. So, but yeah, focusing on the breath and just watching the quality of the breath. When an interesting meditative practice would be to sit for a minute and just observe how you're breathing, and then do that breath that you talked about. Big inhale for 5 counts, hold for 5, and then exhale for 5. Do that 2 or 3 times, 4 or 5 times, whatever feels comfortable, and then notice the breath again, right? Does the quality change? I like to do that when I sit down. I do the 3-part Dirga breath where you concentrate on inhaling belly, rib cage, collarbones, like just full as you possibly can be, and then exhale in reverse. And if I do that just a few times, just 2, 3, 4 times, and then go back to just letting my breath be whatever it's going to be, I just dramatically notice a difference. So just noticing the quality of it. Can you feel that it's cool as it enters your nose and it's warm as it leaves, right? You might notice that, or you might focus on the belly coming in and out. Just keeping your attention there, and noticing what happens. And I found I can do that. And you can meditate for just a couple of minutes. There are a lot of people now, that they'll sell you, or you can get free versions of apps where they'll do you start it and in a minute they'll chime. It's just a minute of focusing on your breath, and if that's all you can do, right? You're in your office, you need to calm down because the last patient just really ticked you off. That might be what you need to do, just a couple of minutes in the moment. But having a more I don't know what the right word would be. If you wanted to do something that's more conventional, formal, where you sit for 30 minutes as kind of a target. I remember reading one time something that said you should meditate for 30 minutes every day, unless you are very busy, and then you should meditate for 60.
Yeah.
Which ends in a way you don't quite expect. But so now I have a practice where I end up sitting for about 30 minutes, and it just varies so much, right? Actually, my routine is that normally my female cat, will come and join me, and she will sit like on one of my legs. Yeah, Josie will come and join me, and I remember somebody saying, "Oh, you can't meditate with a cat." I was in a workshop one time. That's not meditation. It's like, hell yeah, that's meditation. I welcome her energy as I as I calm and face my day. So she'll come and
No
I'll pet
judgment
her.
there.
Yeah, right. No, yeah, right. No judgment there, people. So she'll come and she'll kind of step on my calf as I'm sitting cross-legged, and I'll pet her a couple of times, and then I'll close my eyes because sometimes she's there when I start. She's like, "Come on, come on, come on, sit down, sit down, sit down." She can't, I'm not moving fast enough for her, and other times she'll come, after I've already started. And so I will always stop and pet her a couple of times, open my eyes, and then two or three times it's like, okay, it's time for you to settle down, and then I go back. And so the 30 minutes can go like lickety split. And I know that I've been thinking about things, but I didn't hang on to them because otherwise I would have felt the passage of time, right? If you're sitting with your thoughts, it's excruciating, especially if you're focusing on negative things, right?
Yeah.
So it's to me it's there's so many ways to do it that I don't see a way to fail anymore. I mean, I have had some really cool experiences, probably my coolest, and it's only happened to me maybe two or three times, where I had this sensation of like I'm at the bottom of this pond, this pool of water. And I know that things are happening above me, like there's ripples in the water and maybe there's wind or people are talking or whatever. I'm at the bottom of this pond and it's not threatening or scary at all. It's just the the pure, unadulterated lack of sound, lack of movement, just total calm, total peace that would be at the
Cool.
bottom of a body of water. So I think that I was so far able to go so far back and observe, like I knew the thoughts were there, but I wasn't even conscious of what they were or engaging them. In earlier times, I would have thought I have to do that all the time, or it's not really a successful meditation practice. In fact, there was a woman that I took a meditation class from at Kripalu, um, Lorraine Bhavani, can't remember her last name. Nelson, yes. Anyway, she said, people ask me all the time, what's the most successful meditation practice, right? What's the best or the best way? What's the best meditation practice? And she said, the one you do.
Yeah.
You know,
Love that.
just do it. If
I
it's
like
two
that.
minutes, if it's 2 minutes, that's great. 2 minutes of peace in your life. 2 minutes of being able to slow your breath down just for a few minutes. I can remember when I first started, I talked last time about how for years my yoga practice was really just stretching in front of the TV. And then when I moved to more of a practice where I was focusing on what's happening in my body and not distracted by other things, about that time I started to be more conscious of when I was actually feeling physical tension, like in my body. And I would go, I like take a deep breath to release it. And I thought,
Mm.
God, I am way more stressed out than I thought because this is happening a lot during my day, right? Like I'm noticing I'm
Right.
stressed and I'm taking a deep breath. And then I went, oh, no, no, wait. This is a victory because I'm
Yeah.
noticing that I'm stressed. and
So
I'm
being more
taking that
present.
breath to clear, right? Just like a dog would shake off an interaction it didn't like or something. Um, it's it, the meditation just brings the awareness. It's just
Yes.
increasing awareness. So if you are becoming more aware through focusing on your breathing, becoming more aware by watching your thoughts, but maybe being a little bit less attached to them, it's all a win. It's all a
Hmm.
win, I think.
Yeah. And there is no right or wrong. And that's, I think for the longest time I felt like, well, I'm doing this wrong because I'm not being totally quiet and my mind isn't shutting off. And so I would, nobody wants to do something that they feel they suck at, you
Right,
know? So
exactly. Oh, I
so
scratched my nose. Damn it, I moved.
yeah, I
No, I
know. Oh,
ruined
I do this
it.
all this. It, like right
Yes.
now, I'm like,
I
my
know. Now
nose
I said I got
itches.
scratched my nose.
Is it that my nose itches when I start talking, or if I'm going to sing in front of people, or if I'm recording a podcast with you, or when I'm meditating? Those like the four times. It's like when I start to sing, my nose starts to itch, and I'm like, that's not the time to itch it, but it drives me nuts. Just like right now, it's like it won't stop
Now we're
itching.
talking about it. Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, so itch your nose if it itches when you're meditating. I mean,
Right. Yeah. What the heck?
why be miserable? Yeah, I
Right.
try to ignore it for like 2 seconds, and if it won't go away in 2 seconds, I'm gonna itch my nose,
Right.
and that's okay. That's what I mean. So I think that's why I'm enjoying exploring the different kinds of meditation, and feeling like every time I meditate, it's a victory. And
Yeah.
and I don't know if I'm ever gonna get to where I'm totally transcending my present moment and being the witness. I don't know if I'm going to get to that point. I think I have little glimmers of that,
Right.
but it's not like it lasts for 15 minutes or anything like that. But just the fact that I can feel a shift in my energy. I
Yeah.
know that when I started off and I was all tense in my shoulders and tight in my heart, and that after just doing even the belly breaths, the three-part breathing, in my office at work, helps enough to shift my energy because I'm not. I mean, when I'm alone and on my farm and at peace, I'm a peaceful person.
Right. Right.
I'm a pretty happy person. But the interactions of life and the responsibilities we have of life bring stress too.
Yeah.
For a lot of us.
Yeah.
And so the meditation is a way for me to help shift all of that stress, energy, or anxiety, or whatever you want to call it, um, and and remember that I'm perfectly okay right now in this moment,
Yeah.
exactly as I am.
Yep.
And that's what the meditation helps me to do. And I don't have to, I'm not being graded by anybody
Right.
as to what's running through my brain. And, and so I can stop, I can let myself off the hook and
Yeah.
stop expecting so much. Because I think we all do that. The things we say to ourselves in our minds, if people said that to us outwardly, we would we would run away from them and
Yeah.
never be around them again, and I think a lot of us do that when we meditate too, and that's totally that's Dr. Deepak Chopra is absolutely right. That is, why do we hang on to those negative thoughts? Why does that
Yeah.
jump out at us when we meditate? And that's a great point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hang on to a happy
Yeah.
thought.
Right. Yeah. If you're gonna clutch at thoughts, pick a good one. Yeah. No.
I
That
love that.
what you said about the little spaces that you're finding is, I think what is often referred to as the space between thoughts. Right? Just to notice that there is a space between thought, and maybe if you have a goal, the goal would be to try to lengthen that space between the thoughts, right? To
Yeah. Yeah.
pause in that, or
Right.
it's a pause, and to kind of drop into that pause for as
Yeah.
long as you can and
Like, oh,
enjoy it.
good.
And
There's a
yeah,
pause.
that's right. Yay! There was no thought there. There was no thought there.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing that, I mean, there you said there's lots of different ways, right? You like to use guided meditations. When I sit in the morning, I sit in silence typically. I don't have anything going on. But then, like, if you're watching the video version, you can see the little hot pink thing on the very back over my shoulder here I'm pointing at, that's a clock that ticks. So every once in a while it's like, oh, and there's the clock ticking, right? So there can be distractions in your environment, but again, you notice it and kind of let it go. If it's some people find music very, very soothing, right? They find some meditative music. It might have some chimes, some gongs. It might have some nature sounds in it. Whatever you find pleasant, that's what you should use. So there's no right or wrong there. I know that some people with meditation that they are that it feels sort of out there to them. People will do things like chant, right, and use mantras or om, right, chanting om. Actually, just a
Right.
little drop a little yoga knowledge on you here. My yoga nidra teacher said that om is actually four sounds. It's ah, oo, and then silence. So when you're chanting, it's ah. And that's been equated with people who are like new age nuts, right? Hippies out there, somebody who sit around chanting
Or
om all the
yogis.
time.
Yeah.
What? But I mean, in common culture, right? Like to sort of sit with with your hand in some kind of mudra with your fingers touching in particular ways and chanting om is like a super out there thing. Only weirdos do that. It's just a way to focus the mind. Your mantra could be, I am at peace. I am happy. I am good enough. I am
I am
lovable, right?
brave.
I am, yeah, whatever, like an affirmation. If you're gonna have words going through your head, you could just pick, not wait for a happy thought to come by. You can deliberately choose it, right? I am at peace. I am happy. You could have a string of them. I'm happy. I am worthy. I live in abundance. I have all I need, right? I mean, you could just come up with your own chant and say these things over and over again. So, and that again is a way to focus the mind. It's also kind of harnessing the power of positive thinking. Put into your mind what you want to be true, what you want to attract to you. So there are lots of different things that people can try. If you're someone who has never meditated and think it's an intriguing idea but don't know how to start, there are lots of ways to start. If you're someone who's meditated and felt like me for decades, like a failure because you weren't doing it right, whatever that means, there are lots of things you could try. If you've never tried music, try some music. If you've never, try an affirmation that we would call chanting, right? Chanting is also something that's out there. If you hear people chanting, particularly if they're doing it in Sanskrit, right, which is the language of the yogis, it sounds really weird, but it is just a way to focus. It's a way to focus. So yeah, it's not as weird as it sounds, and of course it's become very mainstream. Mindfulness has become mainstream, meditation has become mainstream, but there's still a lot of people who don't really understand what meditation is because it is so multidimensional, right? There's so many different ways to do it. Some people have very limited ideas about what meditation means. So one of my goals in
Right.
talking about this today is to just get people like me who may have been intrigued by it and thought they might be some benefit to it for them, especially now that we know all the medical benefits for relaxation and de-stressing and lowering blood pressure and having an impact on heart
Absolutely.
disease and all, I mean meditation for managing the course of cancer treatment. I mean meditation has been integrated into conventional medicine, but there's still a lot of misunderstandings about what it is. It's still a very small percentage of the population that actually practices. So my hope today was that anybody who's intrigued by the idea would maybe hear something today that would spark their interest or sound like something that they might want to try.
Yeah, the meditation, they talk about being present in the moment because when we do focus on being present in the moment, I mean, right now, I'm perfectly fine.
Yeah,
There is nothing wrong with me right
right.
now in this moment. If
Yep,
my mind is worrying about how I'm going to pay for the engine that blew in my truck, or in the future, or in the past, focusing on the wounds of what happened to me in the past, or the embarrassment, or the humiliation, or
right.
you're not present if your mind is focused on worrying about that's coming up or
Mm-hmm.
around the corner, or worrying about that, what happened in the past, you're you're living in a different time. You're not living in the moment.
Right.
And there's an expansion that occurs when we're living in the moment and appreciating that we're perfectly fine right now, you know?
Yes. Perfectly fine right now. Absolutely.
And so
Absolutely.
that's what frees our mind and our heart
Yeah.
from all of that worry and stress and anxiety. So that's
Right.
this big thing about being present. It's
Yeah,
being
because one of my favorite Mark Twain quotes is, "I'm an old man, and I've seen many troubles, but most of them never happened." And
yes.
so when we are projecting into the future, like you said, with worry, we are robbing ourselves of the joy that we have right in this moment, or at least the contentment, right? Maybe there are things happening right now we're not super joyful. Maybe we're in some physical pain, right, or some emotional pain. But being able to cultivate the capacity to sit with it, right? I mean, I have sat in meditations where I'm not feeling physically comfortable, where there's a lot going on, and I'm feeling the anxiety. It's not always possible to turn the mind off and turn the worry off, but to sit with it and go, okay, even if I generate these thoughts, I don't have to be overwhelmed by them, right? I can, if I'm feeling anxious, all right, I can just sit with that and notice I'm feeling anxious, and I can't talk myself out of it. Okay, I'm feeling anxious, but I am actually okay right now. Like nothing bad is happening to me except I'm having this feeling that I'm not enjoying. And that's not maybe as bad as I thought it was. Right? So even if things aren't perfect right now, even if you aren't totally perfectly fine right now, being able to cultivate that ability to be with whatever it is that is happening for you right now is, as you said, being in the present, recognizing it's not as bad as you think it is, right? This
Yeah.
particular moment. I was thinking, since we both mentioned yoga nidra, we probably should say just a little bit about that. How
Yeah.
that yoga nidra meditation is different. I have taken yoga nidra teachers training, and I love it. Right, it's the first thing I brought you to at Kripalu, as we said before,
Yes,
was
I
the yoga
love it.
nidra
I love
experience.
Jennifer
Yeah, with
Reese.
Jennifer Reese. She's just phenomenal. She's a sprite. She's just this
She is. She's
beautiful.
like a woodland
She's
sprite. She's
just this
awesome.
beautiful inside and out individual, and she knows so much. She's done so much studying. She studied Sanskrit, and she's just an amazing person, an amazing resource. But she so yoga nidra, in the tradition that I learned it, talks about there being, sort of our soul is the light, like a light bulb, right? And we have these various shades over the light bulb, is the way you can think of it. They're called veils in the yogic tradition, the writings. But so yoga nidra is about moving you through those veils and getting you closer. Oh no, my phone's going off. Getting you closer to who you really are. Shoot, I turned off everything I thought except for that.
Well, you know what?
It's life. That's the way it is. It'll stop in 1 second. So so the going through the veils, you through the guided meditation, you kind of focus on the physical body, right? You kind of notice and become aware of the physical body, and then you focus on the breath, or the breath body, and the breath moving through the physical body, and then you focus on the emotions and the mental constructs, right? The thoughts that we're having, and you sort of guide people through moving through these layers to try to get them closer to essentially who you authentically are. And there's lots of different ways to, create stories or experiences that people can have moving through this. And there's lots of, like, Jennifer Reese does sell her CDs with her yoga nidra tracks on it, that you can listen to. But it's great for people who think that the guided meditations, and in particular yoga nidra. I've found yoga nidra to be very powerful, because there's an affirmation piece. You start with, the question is asked, what is your heart's greatest desire right now in this moment? And then you create a statement or an affirmation for yourself that essentially says that that desire is true, right? That thing is, if it's something you want to happen, that thing has happened. If it's a state of being you're looking for, I want to be at peace, I am at peace, right? And so it's a part of kind of an affirmation that's built into this. So that's what makes it really powerful. And it's very, very accessible because you can do it sitting up, you can do it lying down, which is what most of us want to do when we meditate.
Yes.
I don't dare because
Yes.
I feel like I'm going to fall asleep. So I usually sit up in the morning when I meditate. But you totally can do the yoga nidra lying down. And I love the way Jennifer presents it. She says, there is no way to do this wrong. You cannot do this
Yeah.
meditation wrong. And if you fall asleep, that's fine. You're still going to hear what's happening. It's
Yeah.
still going to have an impact on you. Just like if you fall asleep with the TV on, you're going to hear what's there. So it's very, very accessible. So I would encourage people who feel like meditation might be something they'd like to try, but they really, really, really don't know how to start on their own. I would say look for Jennifer Reese, Reis, and her Divine Sleep Yoga Nidra, and
Absolutely.
she's wonderful. Definitely
She is.
give her a shot.
I have
So
all of her secrets.
she even has one for children that I bought for your grandchildren before I had my grandson. So yeah, this it's really they're very nice. So that I guess what we wanted to communicate today is that meditation is accessible even if you aren't sure what you're doing or have tried and felt like you failed. It's brought a lot of healing and peace for us, and so we wanted to
Peace in
encourage
our
people
lives.
to to
Absolutely.
give it a
There is
try.
truly is something for everyone.
Yeah,
There really is.
absolutely.
Just keep
Yeah.
keep trying until you find what it is that you like.
Right, right. As I said, free apps where they'll remind you at different points or time you for 60 seconds. If that's all you feel like you can do, that's what's going to be meaningful to you, then I absolutely would say give it a shot. So, so if you do, wander on over to our Facebook page. If you're listening to this in the audio version, or if you're watching us on YouTube, leave a comment and let us know what you found most helpful. That would we really love to get that feedback.
We'd love to hear from you. Yeah, we
Yeah.
absolutely would.
So until then, we're wishing you much love, much light,
And so many, many blessings.
many blessings. Take care.